solo laners, that Lucian was something that Nemesis and Selfmade used to great success when they have had it in the past. And Bwipo receiving a lot of love and hype from the Fnatic fans and social media. Why'd Bwipo happy step on stage today? Senna will be locked in. That's going to deny that from Jackie Love and put that in the hands of Reckless.
All right, I like this taken away. You don't want Jackie Love on that Senna. It is absolutely insane in his hands. Now looking at picks like the Ornn potentially to start popping up for Bwipo. And will it be the Kindred? Kindred, known as the counter into Graves. Of course, the scaling and the range you can gain is very favorable up into that matchup. But immediately top are going to lock in the Ezreal and the Zoe. Knight Zoe absolutely sick in the mid lane. And now they've got all of this range to play with and beat Fnatic with.
Okay, a lot of range, a lot of poke, some pick power, and we need to see how they close out this composition. What will Yuyanja be running in that support role, and what will 369 be running up in the top lane? This Galio is being seen more and more, and we're anticipating that to be in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I really like this Galio. Of course, Galio sort of picked there into the Zoe to try and absorb a lot of the punch that she can throw in lane a little bit later in the game. With the magic damage shield, he can try to absorb a whole lot of that, but also when paired next to a Kindred, Galio's got one big circle, and Kindred's big circle sort of invites the enemy team to stand inside of it, so Galio Ultimate obviously has some very nice interactions there. Also, combined with that Senna, you have some global ability. So, if Fnatic wanted to play a more topside-focused game plan, you have a Senna ult to help out up there. The Galio can also travel up towards the top side, and Fnatic hold on to counter pick, so I would expect to see Bwipo get his pick here of what matchup he wants to take into 369.
Something that Captain Flowers and Azael were talking a lot about yesterday on the cast was the Galio combination with something a bit more forward-facing, something a bit more proactive. I know Azael, not the hugest fan of the more defensive style, but I do like the way you've just explained that with the Kindred Ultimate and how they can synergize together.
Well, have you heard of a Camille plus Galio? Because I would expect to see top ban that away here if they do not remove it after the Shen. Shen, another one of those champions that Bwipo has looked so good on and drew a lot of first phase bans during the group stage, but the Camille will be taken away there. I also really like the Yuumi and the Bard removed, especially that Bard I think works really well with poke composition, so Fnatic keying in on that to remove from top.
And yesterday, was it Sword, I think, using that Bard Ultimate Tempered Fate to stop every single Rift Herald charge onto the towers. Fantastic play. So that'll be denied from Yuyanja. With the fact that Camille and the Shen were taken away, now we need to see how does this next step play out. Hylissang will get a signature pick in that Rakan, locked into the support role, and I do like that initiation tool. Now the combination with Galio, both offensively and defensively, is running, and it allows Bwipo the option to counter pick on the final draft.
Exactly. So right now, Fnatic have a little bit more standard of a comp where you have your clear frontliners, you have double marksmen to, you know, pump out the damage from long range, whereas I think top, especially if they go the route of a range support, would be looking to dodge out on fights a little bit more, take them slow, play off the Ezreal poke and the Zoe poke as well, but with the Leona being locked in, they want to exude some range threat, that immediate CC. The Ornn is also going to play into that very, very nicely. And now what is that counter pick option going to be for Bwipo?
Well, that's going to be the question. This is going to be the first Ornn of the 2020 World Championship for 369. And I think you've got a lot of range to play with and initiation tools on the side of top esports. Bwipo is locked in. Singed! We have Singed locked in for the first game of Fnatic versus Top Esports quarterfinal. Talk to me about Singed.
Question, what did I say at the start of the night? You said you 369 has these cool counter picks. Well, Bwipo has them too, and Singed, Bwipo is no stranger to this champion. It feels like every once in a while you get surprised by a Singed pick at Worlds. I'm remembering back to like 2017-18, I think we saw Impact locking the Singed in the top lane. You go way back in the day. There's some great Singed players there as well, but into a tank matchup, of course, Singed can have a decent time in lane, shouldn't get bullied out too much, and then the thought has to be, against a lot of ranged backliners that have some blinks to try to escape, if you can run them down, the disruption Singed has in a backline, in fights, in scattered fights, can be absolutely nasty.
I mean, the disruption you're talking about, combine that with Kindred, combine that with Galio, there are a lot of tools to play with. Then you add on top of that the Senna shields and heals that can play with Bwipo. The excitement, the interest is there. So, surprise pick coming straight out the gates. And while we'll be very focused on that top lane and the impact that Whipper will have for Singed, I need to draw everyone's attention again to this Rekkles versus JackeyLove matchup. Senna, first rotation for Fnatic. The Ezreal for JackeyLove. These two players, the last time they met was in the 2018 World Championship final. And frankly, JackeyLove dumpstered Rekkles.
He absolutely did. You know, in lane, in the series, it was a 3-0, and that was the peak of both of their careers. Obviously, JackeyLove won the world title, but for Rekkles, making the world final was huge, and he was not able to overcome that. And since that moment, when JackeyLove 3-0'd Rekkles, Rekkles has known nothing but runner-up. From coming second, from not being able to take anyone down himself. So now matching into JackeyLove in this quarterfinal, he looks to remedy some of the struggles he's had in the past.
To get retribution, to get revenge, to get redemption. And like you said, Rekkles coming back to EU 2019, 2020, it's been G2 Esports that have dominated. They will play their quarterfinal tomorrow. For now though, let's draw our attention back on screen. Top Esports with a little bit of an early grouping. It doesn't look like any shenanigans afoot for level 1 right now. That is that Predator Galio that we've been seeing more and more throughout the course of the later stages of the World Championship.
I'm just really curious to see how this Singed ends up working in Bwipo's hands in the top lane. I think that when you look at Singed first, you have to look in isolation of the matchup and in the early game, and I think that it's going to be really hard for a Graves to get a lot of work done up against a Singed top side. You know, if Graves rolls into that lane, Singed can drop down his, you know, corrosive little puddle there and escape no problem. And of course, that movement speed is really hard for a lot of the top esports champions to catch up to.
Well, and that mega adhesive that Bwipo wants to drop down is hopefully going to stick Fnatic's chances in this quarterfinal. Just so you know, Bwipo has played 3 games of Singed professionally, 2 wins, 1 loss. Do you want to know the last time Selfmade played Kindred? It is over 2 years ago. He has never played it in the LEC, and he has never played it internationally.
Yeah, because I mean, I was looking at a lot of these champion stats before the game as well, because, you know, with Graves being a really high priority pick, like, would the Kindred come out? And I think KaiSser hasn't played a Kindred since 2015, so while this champion is returning, it's been a long time since we've seen a heavy carry jungle focused meta.
And it's very important to call out that carry jungle focused meta is something that Fnatic have been playing around and adapting to over the course of the summer splits.
Well, look at this. KaiSser already over on the enemy red buff. You can't see it on the map right now because we're watching how upsetting this leash is for Selfmade. Of course, 369 spent some time on that Gromp camp, which allows KaiSser then get the level 3, and now he's going to find Nemesis.
All right, going to get flashed away early. The taunt doesn't connect. Bwipo had already left lane after shoving it forward.
Yeah, and this is a really nice steal for KaiSser to have. Obviously, losing the flash is going to be unfortunate for him, but I don't actually think it's going to be that meaningful for the first few minutes. KaiSser very likely just going to continue cycling through the rest of his jungle camps, because the one thing I feel like you really do need when you do run this Kindred is you need priority in your lanes to enable the Kindred to go ahead and find some stacks. So that's why having a Singed up on the top side was going to be very useful from level 1. Obviously, he can just drop his poison and push the wave pretty easily, but with KaiSser taking away the red buff, that takes a lot of firepower away from Selfmade. It makes it a lot harder for him to play the early game.
KaiSser waiting in the wings at this banana bush just behind the blue buff, stepping forward. Nemesis, the wave is pushing towards him though, so won't be running into anybody right now.
Yeah, look at it though. KaiSser was expecting the crab spawn, or the mark spawn, to be on the bot side jungle. Immediately paths his way towards the top side of the map, and again, could see a scrap inside of the river, but Selfmade's playing around top side for the time being, and because Knight has the push in mid, Selfmade can't really do much about it. It's going to be that first crab and that first mark denied for KaiSser.
It's a slow Selfmade's Kindred down, just a touch. The Skull Crab will be secured, as you've alluded to. And looking at the state of the minimap, I did catch a quick glimpse of Yanja making his way north. He pushed out of the lane. As you can see, he and JackeyLove have shoved forward, dropped an additional ward behind the Gromp there, and KaiSser now making his way down south. It looks like Selfmade's en route as well. And as it stands, Hylissang and Rekkles, they've just been pushed back a little. Hilly went in with a little bit of a engage, took a big chunk of damage, down to 1 pot.
I wonder if top would want to make a play on Selfmade's Gromp camp. I don't think they will. They do have vision on him and are going to be fully aware of what's going on at the moment. With KaiSser not having his flash, I think the better play is to take that bot Scuttle Crab. It's a very safe play. You deny that and can now get into your bot side camps. Because that's the thing. KaiSser actually left up his Krugs, his red buff, for a very long time, making sure he could get into the river and play for those Kindred marks. And that's a really big big deal in this matchup is denying those very first marks.
A lot of damage being chunked down there onto Bwipo. Forced to flash early. 369 waiting for some cooldowns and won't continue the chase. The entrance once again goes in from Hylissang. A lot of damage on a Jackie Love. He will get rooted up. Dash forward. Jackie Love below 100. The cleanse comes out. First blood secured by Hylissang and Fnatic. They keep the damage onto Yanja. They back away.
Starting game one off with a statement. Reckless and Hylissang get the 2v2 kill and knock down Jackie Love for first blood.
Fantastic performance. Reckless and Hylissang have had a huge impact on Fnatic's success throughout the course of the group stage, and they straight up win the 2v2, landing every single ability needed. Now Selfmade will just be here covering the lane as Nemesis backed away.
Yeah, there's gank up at the top side. KaiSser low on mana, but again, Bwipo lost his flash early.
All right, let's take a look here. 369, if he gets flung backwards, there could be trouble. Is there a dive of foot? The taunt will connect onto KaiSser. No further follow-up. Justice Punch will be dashed away from. And now here comes Knight. No portal jump, so won't be able to get that paddle star at max range. Summoning heal goes in. Spell Thief. The sleep connects, and that's a drowsy, sleepy, dead Bwipo. Dash forward into the winds of war. Top Esports bounce back.
Knight, 1 versus 2, just walking in there while the rest of his team recalls, comes back for the kill, holds on to an exhaust as well. So not like Selfmade can do anything about that play and look to respond with the gank of his own in the top lane. Bit miscoordinated there between Nemesis and Bwipo, not landing the Justice Punch off of the flip. And that, of course, meant there was no kill going down and that Knight could walk in freely.
This time around, 369, a tiny bit of threat, but there's a big minion wave right in front of him. Yakilov is in trouble, and there's no further follower. Didn't see the CC connecting. Here comes the Ornn Horn. A lot of damage going down. Bwipo takes out 369. Now he's running for his life. Will get dropped by KaiSser. 2 kills apiece. As all of a sudden, Selfmade starts to back away.
You saw there, right, though, the interaction between Singed and Ornn. He puts the adhesive down so that 369 can't punt the Forge God back into the face of Fnatic. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, but already seeing some more reasons for this Singed pick to pop out. But I do need to call out, because Yanja made that trip to the mid lane, this wave has been in a really awkward spot for Jackie Love. That's why we saw the trade go so poorly against him, but they do have priority, and maybe want to use that to help out KaiSser on the invade.
Okay, KaiSser's going to be pushing into Selfmade. Blue buff is still very, very
6 to
healthy.
5.
Level 6 available. Collateral damage is up. If Selfmade isn't able to pick this up, if you look at the minimap, Hylissang has already started to back away. Support coming in. Smokescreen goes down as well as the smite. And Yanja will find the Zenith Blade. The Blast Cone gets Hylia to safety. In the blink of an eye, 4 kills have been secured. And just a quick reminder, the Fnatic in the 7 games played at Worlds have picked up first blood in every single one of them.
That's ridiculous. And this game, it wasn't even some sort of fancy level 1 play getting into the enemy jungle. It was just straight up 2 versus 2 kill on the bottom side of the map. Now, KaiSser will be picking up the Mountain Drake for his team. Scuttle Crab spawned on the top side of the map. So Selfmade's level 6. He's going to be able to find his first mark of the game on the Kindred. Get that one, no problem. But something Fnatic do need to keep in mind is Knight, who's now jumped out to a 20 CS lead on top of that first kill. He has lost Chapter, which makes it so easy to get priority in this lane, especially if KaiSser donates him this next blue buff. That'll be very easy for him. And Zoe is the type of champion that can take over games on her own. It doesn't matter, you know, if bot lane's going well, top lane, you know, any of these things are going well. If the bubbles are landing and you're not able to snap engage, it'll be rough.
Oh, there's a snap engage. Wow. Zenith Blade, True Shot Barrage as well. Reckless starting to back away. Cleanse will be up in just a moment. Underneath the tower, Yanja takes some damage. Hylissang going to need to body block and be helped out. Reckless and Hilly escape with their lives, but that was close.
Wow, that was a really good trade there. Even after losing the early 2v2, Jackie Love and Yanja able to come out on top. Now, Nemesis does have his ultimate if he wants to get into this bottom lane, but Hylissang smartly goes to the recall there. Even with the ulti coming through, I think that would very likely have been death had he stuck underneath the tower.
And super quick to point out, Nemesis down 20 CS in this mid lane. Knight on the Zoe doing a very good job tagging and chunking him out. He's got the flash ignite for now, so any follow-up or any support could be problematic here for Nemesis, continuing to be pushed in almost every time we look in that mid lane, especially in the early stages, without any AP yet. Nemesis is being pushed back and playing defensive.
All right, so top have hit a very big spike for them here. KaiSser just finished off his Warrior enchant, which, yeah, Selfmade hit his as well, but I think Graves' burst with a Warrior next to a Zoe is absolutely massive. So look how Yanja now and KaiSser are going to be moving around the map together after Rift Herald is respawned. There's only one objective on the top side of the map. They are on the hunt to find and kill a Fnatic player.
Can they find anyone? Hylissang going for a bit of a warding mission. He's got himself a control ward there in the chicken camp. It looks like Selfmade's making his way up, and if I saw that correctly, there's a mark to be picked up.
Yep.
So small win here for Selfmade.
See, it's really interesting because both junglers are saying they're winning right now. KaiSser's the type of guy that'll be like, yeah, I get the drag, you know, I fall a little bit behind in CS, I'll get the Rift Herald too. He's getting every objective for his team, and to top, that is winning. But Selfmade just got a mark, just got a red buff. He's continuing to farm up. Now he's got a level lead over KaiSser, whereas just a few minutes ago, we saw when KaiSser walked into his blue buff jungle, KaiSser had the level advantage.
Now, I'm going to ask you to tell me who you think is really winning. As it stands, Fnatic getting a lot of uninterrupted time on the plates. Knight is alone in the mid lane. As it looked like Nemesis stepped backwards, Uyanja going to get chunked out ever so slightly. That's the engage from Hylissang. The charm lands, the knockup does as well. He's going to be forced to retreat backwards.
But look at the collapse now. KaiSser is moving down through the bot side jungle. That ultimate will tag onto Reckless. And again, KaiSser, level 7 has huge burst.
All right, level 6 available for Selfmade. Lamb's Respite is there, so is the Flash. Respite used defensively. Can Nemesis get in range to get the knockup? There goes Hylissang. Dawning Shadow will buy some time. Here comes Knight. He's got himself a protobelt. Knocked up into the air by Nemesis. A two-man taunt, and Reckless gets another. They're going to look for JackeyLove and find him, but Knight, what can he do? He manages to find Selfmade and flash over the wall to safety. It's a 2-for-1 if you're Fnatic.
Fnatic once again come out on top of that fight. They're camping the bush, jumped onto Uyanja, and are now also going to pick up huge turret plates in the bot lane as well.
Well, I've heard of dirty farming, proxy farming, whatever you want to call the old Singe mechanics. It was usually between tier 1 and tier 2. Bwipo says I can do it better.
Oh no.
Goes between tier 3 as well as the inhib. Throws down an insanity potion. Was caught out by the sleep. Knocked up, throws the fling. Now because of the Orge, is going to be forced to flash away. I was waiting to see if the stun would come in. Bwipo continues to run for his life. That poison trail doing work. Cost him his flash, cost him his ultimate, but he gets out with his life.
What's that one rule about Singed, Trevor?
Never chase Singed. It's a rule as old as I am. And this was that replay that went 2-for-1 to Fnatic.
Yeah, let's look at this, because at the start, Uyanja very, very low, and while Selfmade gets bursted out, his ultimate buys so much time. Hylissang pops in at the right second to chunk out KaiSser, and that ultimate from Nemesis really denies Knight a lot. There's a lot of beefy targets in front of him. Hylissang's blocking out shots, so while eventually Knight does get that kill, you can see when Fnatic are very clumped together, Zoe is going to struggle to actually lay down the damage, especially when she's not playing on the same side of the fight as the rest of her team.
Yeah, very, very nicely done here. And 3 kills to 4. Fnatic, 45 seconds until the next dragon. They did push some vision into top esports jungle, but I can't unsee the fact that both Bwipo and Nemesis are falling a little behind in terms of the CS. 2 kills picked up for Knight's Zoe as well. That could become problematic. And for the time being, Hilly, with the flash, the ultimate available, just waiting in the river, seeing if he can find anyone.
Yeah, especially because there's a lot of vulnerable players on top after losing their flashes in the last play. Bot lane is flashless. KaiSser also doesn't have it. And here we go on the bot.
All right, flash shaded for the Arcane Shift. JackeyLove's going to get rooted down. Solar Flare buys some time, but JackeyLove will get dumpstered. The 3rd kill in a row for Fnatic. Reckless and Fnatic sending a message.
This game is personal for Fnatic. They are targeting JackeyLove over and over again to punish him. And all the setup in the river was favored for top. They had great control wards to set up for this dragon, but it's Fnatic that attack in the bot lane and now can find the ocean themselves.
20 CS advantage for Reckless. 2 kills, 0 death, 2 assists. KaiSser's got a challenge for the Ocean Drake. Smite fight goes the way of Fnatic. The taunt will catch KaiSser, but he's able to quickly dash over the wall. And from the get-go, you said it's personal. You've heard the analyst desk, you've heard fans, you've seen social media talking about Reckless versus JackeyLove. And with Reckless being 2-0-2 and the supportive tools that are Singed and Galio are going to provide the Fnatic team composition, we're setting ourselves up for a strong and interesting mid-game from the perspective of Fnatic.
Yeah, especially like just having money on a Senna too is probably the compositional counter against the Zoe on the other side. When Zoe puts down the poke, you want to make sure you have the healing and the sustain from the Senna to help out with that and help mitigate that, because it has felt in a lot of these plays, it's been Fnatic winning overall, but Knight winning by himself, showing up after the play to get a kill and then escape. He's got his Luden's Echo now, the Sork Shoes as well, and with the Rift Herald going down in the mid lane, that turret is very, very low. So top need to find a way to stop playing around bottom lane, just let JackeyLove farm up. Now you need Uyanja, KaiSser, Knight to team up, take control over the river, and regain pressure on the map.
Well, it looks like top esports will have some numbers to challenge this river. Bwipo throws down the Insanity Potion once again. The Dancer arrows over the wall for Selfmade. Whippo's going to get the fling backwards into the Mega Adhesive, locked down by the Solar Flare. Here comes Nemesis, the Dawning Shadow as well. Nemesis running for his life, as so is Selfmade. He's already used the Lamb's Respite. Fnatic overreached, overcommitted, and got punished.
It's exactly what Top needed to do. They're still in the chase looking for Nemesis. Knight is so fast, he's going to pick up that flash and maybe look for the bubble.
Well, it's a dash away Justice Punch for safety, but it's a game of chicken, dodging all those skill shots and the mobility from Knight Zoe.
Yeah, it's just perfect there from Top. They recognize Whippo Selfmade going for the aggressive invade inside their top side jungle. They know that's the area where Reckless isn't. Reckless and Hylissang were both sitting around towards that bottom lane. And of course, Knight is able to show up and show off, playing off the CC from the rest of his team so perfectly to land the big damage here. And as you can see, like, Yuyanja and 369, they take their time, because again, the damage dealers are still showing up. That's why Yuyanja doesn't immediately CC on to Nemesis. Of course, Knight flies in, is able to find that kill, and the Senna ultimate, that one global, is not enough to keep Fnatic alive on the top side of the map with this chase and just the raw damage that Top have at this point.
Knight's Zoe is terrifying. He's 4-0. And when you see the mind games that he's playing, when you see the damage he's putting down onto Whippo, Nemesis and Whippo are not beefy enough to survive the rotation. And when you add a Graves or an Ezreal damage on top of Knight's Zoe, they're going to get melted very, very quickly. The gold is dead even as we've crested 15 minutes. It's one tower apiece, one dragon apiece, and we are going to have a very interesting set of mid-game skirmishes because of the Singed Galio combination.
We really are, and I think for Fnatic, it's whether or not they can reliably reach Knight. Right now, he's got, the cleanse, he has his flash also available, has Unsealed Spellbook to be able to switch around if he needs it. But with this Singed, early on, he's going for Leandri, so, if he wanted to get some sort of movement speed item like a Righteous Glory, that's going to be a little bit later down the line, and that's really where the max threat comes onto a Zoe, I feel, is once he can actually speed his way into the back line, pair up with a Rakan, because if you think about it, a Singe plus a Rakan sort of flying towards your back line, that means you can't focus on poking as much as you have to focus on disengaging. So once those items start to come through, once Fnatic are able to enter fights from these sides, that's where it could be struggle city for Top. But again, I think they've done a really good job of playing around vision around this Zoe to make sure that's not really a concern of theirs.
That's been a bit of a trend. I think in yesterday's LPL versus LPL quarterfinal, playing around pockets of vision and using the information you have available for decisions was hugely influential to the outcome of the game. And KaiSser, for the course of this match, got the first dragon, has got both of the Rift Heralds thus far. There is another dragon spawning in a minute. We're playing for a Cloud Soul. And I almost think to myself, those little pockets of movement speed that Whippo can make use of moving between lanes may actually be a little beneficial. The same can be said for 369's Ornn, of course. And we've already seen now the duos repositioning. They've relocated to the mid lane. It looks like Whippo's heading top where Knight is currently finding himself, and 369's catching the wave down bottom.
And what we just saw on the minimap there was Nemesis walking by himself into the enemy jungle, placing down some wards, because this is how Fnatic win a team fight, is Whippo teleport flanking into that red buff jungle on the bottom side of the map around the time that the dragon spawns, because again, Knight will always be trying to set up behind the wall here of the dragon pit to get those super long range bubbles and really put down threat onto Fnatic. But if Whippo can come in from behind, all of a sudden all of that damage that Knight could be dealing is immediately turned into the tank, and it opens up Selfmade and Reckless to deal considerably more in the fight.
Well, the vision's going to be important for that. The teleport's going to be important. Yuyanja already starting to push some wards down. If you look at the minimap, Top Esports are the first ones to make a move towards the Dragon Pit.
And they're in the bot lane. They just put down the Rift Herald from KaiSser. That's going to be able to secure the tower almost certainly for them. And in the meantime, Fnatic are going to be pressured to make a play quickly on that Dragon. Otherwise, this Herald is going to push for that tier 2.
Now, there are a couple of minions in that bottom lane that could be teleported onto by Whippo. Fnatic are going to decide against it instead. Put some pressure on this mid lane. They may have enough time to take it out. They will before Top Esports can reply. And it looks like Whippo is doing a lot of damage, maybe even taking the top tower. So 2-for-1 trade plus Dragon is what Top Esports and Fnatic have just done.
I do like this trade-off from Fnatic, assuming they're able to get down to this bottom lane. The Rift Herald will die off on this charge, so I don't think JackeyLove's going to stick around. Those inner turrets also don't give you as much gold as the outer, so we'll just leave that one to die off to the tower. And Top Esports can't really respond and push for that mid lane tower either, because there was already a wave in mid lane the second that inner turret, or the outer turret went down rather, so Fnatic could just easily push that one in and deny Top stop any sort of retaliation of their own.
Well, let's take a quick look at itemization. Reckless has been sitting on that Ghost Blade for a little while. We'll go back to buy, but it looks like Frozen Fist coming out here for JackeyLove. Talks so much about the mobility threat of Whippo on that Singed. Last Embrace will tag down Knight, but there's no follow-up, no one else around. And I think for Reckless, sidestepping that Zenith Blade was crucial, as well as the Solar Flare. So was at risk of conceding his bounty, but played it well.
Yeah, or at least having to use the cleanse, something that would obviously be of great benefit in the next fight. I do like seeing this Kindred build. We've seen some Black Cleaver Kindred, but I think Stormrazor going for the more crit-oriented approach gives you the best scaling options on that champion, which is exactly what you want up against the Graves, who's going to be playing into that lethality, really playing for that massive mid-game burst. And of course, that's allowed top to get a whole lot of control. Now, with Reckless taking a reset, they're going to be able to go mid, but that's the TP we're talking about.
Here comes Whippo. The Galio ultimate's going to come in as well. Stopwatch will buy some time. 5 members of Fnatic find themselves 369. Lost Embrace holding him in place. KaiSser's going to get trapped backwards, flying into the poison trail from Whippo as KaiSser's sent to the fountain. Fnatic find themselves 2, but what else can they do?
And the fight looks completely random in the mid lane. No objectives up, but Fnatic see the opportunity with Whippo coming in from behind. Knight flashes forward to pick up another flash, so he's going to be fine to be able to skirt out of this one, no problem. But again, Fnatic finding their mark in these skirmishes.
But was it worth it? No Baron to play for, no Tower to play for, no Dragon to play for, and it cost the TP and the flash from Whippo.
Trevor, I don't believe in the fighting over nothing is bad anymore, because fighting over kills is an objective. That gives you gold. Experience shuts down the opposition. They use that Galio ult in tandem with the TP to zone away the backline of top. Then KaiSser still gets flung back. Yeah, that's how the interaction works, working as intended. Whippo was able to find him out, and it's by splitting up the fight, again, that Fnatic will be able to find their advantages.
I completely agree with the Fnatic support staff backstage, uttering words that I shall not endure to say. But that picked up additional kills for Fnatic, 7-5. We're 21 minutes in. It is still a dead even game. That gold variance of 1,500 to 500 frankly doesn't matter. And we continue to scale up. The Iceborne Gauntlet was picked up there for JackeyLove. Knight has been sitting on 8 stacks of that Medjai's for a little while, and KaiSser also going the damage build with the Ghost Blade being picked up, as well as 2 longswords.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to see, especially when you're paired with an Ornn on your team for the best upgrade possible. Get the Yomus. Of course, that's the other thing we have to keep in mind. We're about to reach the point where Ornn's going to be able to start handing out some items while they do come through from Fnatic. Top Esports is going to be just a little bit stronger.
And very important to note, though, Reckless just picked up the rapid fire cannon. So itemization and allowing you to continue picking these fights as and when you choose will be important. The next Dragon is another Cloud. This will put Top Esports on Soul Point. The previous one, Fnatic conceded. They gave it up to get some control on the map. They picked up multiple towers. Do they opt to do the same? I don't think so, because of how the vision is being set up.
Why am I hearing a stopwatch? There's no stopwatch, guys.
Well, it does sound like it's just a bit of an observer bug, most likely. Let's see if it sticks around, though. But taking a look at the vision, Whippo doesn't have a TP ward to play around, so I like seeing him in the bottom lane as we're only 50 seconds from the next round.
So it's going to be Nemesis in the top lane. You can actually see there's a great ward by that red buff underneath all of Top Esports at the moment that Fnatic could use to teleport in. I actually do believe that KaiSser ended up clearing that one away, and the Zhonya's appears to be on Whippo when that noise is coming through. Use the stopwatch in the last fight, so that won't be up, but Nemesis does have one. And again, the amount of time that all the divers of Fnatic can buy, can zone away top 4, is always going to be beneficial to Fnatic. So having a stopwatch after you drop down the ultimate to make sure JackeyLove and Knight just stand there doing nothing is really, really critical.
Level 14 was dinged by 369, upgraded Luden's Echo in Knight's inventory. 10 seconds till the Dragon play, and despite the orchestral music playing, it is not that set in stone for Fnatic. The Dragon fight is approaching. Whippo gets adhesive. Is going to chase forward. He's going to find himself. JackeyLove is locked down, rooted up, and Reckless is on a killing spree. The rapid fire can really helping out. KaiSser's the next target to fall, and despite Call of the Forge God, it is a disengaged tool. Nemesis is running for his life. The Embrace will fall short. Nobody rooted in place, but the Fling will come in just a moment or two. Not going to land just yet as Selfmade runs down down Yuyanja. The rest of Fnatic now peeling towards the mid lane.
That's 3 kills for Fnatic, and it could just mean the Baron. The poke comes back from Knight onto Reckless, but Fnatic are headed straight to the major objective.
They're going to find the engage once again. They will find the initiation, and this singed pick is paying off. Now, for Knight, it will be like shooting fish in a barrel. Those Battle Stars can do a lot of work as he's stepping forward. Fnatic inside the pit, 5,000 HP.
Knight doesn't have a smite, but he has the damage. He does not connect on the Paddle Star. 2,000 HP, what's he gonna do?
Two-shot barrage flies in and across. The Battle Star comes in, is picked up by Fnatic. Baron goes the way of the LEC. Now, 369 was tagged for just a little.
Knight.
Reckless will sidestep the Battle Star, get away from the Sleepy Trouble bubble. And Fnatic will continue to run. Knight is playing exquisitely, but not finding the skill shots.
Knight doing everything he can, but Fnatic are aware and they're dodging out of it all. Fnatic, they found the fight, but what is JackeyLove doing? The arcane shift forward. He's completely out of line, throws the team fight, he falls down. Now KaiSser is also caught out of position, so it's 2 immediate kills for Fnatic, and all they have to do is chase down top. This would have even been worse if Knight didn't have the Banshee Veil, because then Bwipo would just immediately go for the flip, but Bwipo on his own, without using the flip, doesn't have a way of breaking that spell shield, so they will settle for the kill on Leona, but it doesn't matter, because they get the Baron on top of it, Trevor.
The first significant lead in this best of 5 goes the way of Europe and Fnatic. They get the Baron, we managed to see the wide Bwipo face, and it ends up being a 3,000 gold lead. Now, the gold you get from Baron is already accounted for in the Red Bull Baron power play. What more can they do with it? JackeyLove takes a big chunk of damage from Reckless, who is yet to die, and truly has been the beneficiary of all of Fnatic plays. 9 out of the 10 kills that Fnatic have secured, he's been involved in. And despite the fact that, yes, it is self-made on the carry, jungler, and Kindred, all the plays, the Hylissang engages, the duo has been leading the way for Fnatic.
It was all about that bottom lane, from early game to rotating into these later fights. Hylissang finding out JackeyLove in that last one. Now, Top Esports relegated inside of their base. There's no better position for a Kindred to be when you can freely walk into the enemy jungle and start taking away those marks. You also have the long problem here for top, where against the Baron buff, you'd like to be able to force hard commit into a fight, into, you know, a 2-man or a 3-man stack from Fnatic, but that's not what Knight wants. Knight needs to take these fights slowly, otherwise you saw what just happened in the last one.
And you can see there's 2 teleports available for Fnatic. So with Baron buff enabled, with Galio and Singed wanting to play those side lanes or pushing the lanes, this will give Fnatic the tools they need, but they cannot disregard the fact that Top Esports are on Dragon Soul Point. So next one is up in 3 minutes, and they cannot concede that one, albeit not the sexiest of souls. Once you start moving towards the Elder as well, there is some pressure from Fnatic. I think have played the trade game fairly well when they've committed to an objective or not, and 369 takes a little bit of chunk. Will be enough just to allow Selfmade to finish off the tower. While that's going on, Bwipo's pushing through the mid lane.
Fact is, right now, JackeyLove just does not have the damage to compete. Maybe when you finish off a Death's Dance, the fights start to look a little bit better, as Knight will continually be able to put down the poke, but Reckless is just easily able to keep sustaining through Nemesis and Top Esports. They're waiting here, maybe looking for a fight, but realistically, all they can do is clear waves while Bwipo pushes on the other edge of the map.
And just before we get into this next engage, Selfmade still sitting on 4 stacks for that Kindred. Reckless sitting on 50 stacks for the Senna. Thank you, production, for that update. The Baron has timed out, and it has extended Fnatic's lead. All time for Fnatic against LPL teams, they've won 15 games, and they've lost 24. For the very first game, straight out the gate, Reckless is 3-0-6 against JackeyLove 0-4-2. And the last time these 2 players met was in the 2018 World Championship. What a statement from the bottom lane of Fnatic coming into this best of 5.
Can you continue it? Can you maintain the level of performance? That's always going to be the biggest question. Things have slowed down since the Baron buff has decayed on the side of Fnatic, but they still have full map control. It really does feel like. And leading into the next fight, that will be an Infinity Edge on the Senna completed there. A lot of crit chance, of course, but I mean, how do you stack up against this Fnatic team when now a Kindred also has that rapid fire complete? The range, they can now fight back into a Zoe so easily.
The item disparity is gigantic. 4 completed items for Reckless to 2.5 for JackeyLove. 3 completed items for Selfmade to 2 for KaiSser. There's just a huge advantage in Fnatic itemization thanks to the gold lead. And the Hourglass plus the Rylai's Crystal Scepter picked up for Bwipo. So you talked a lot about how impactful Bwipo can be. Running into that fight, giving the ability for Nemesis to jump in safely while the hourglass is up, and then just waiting for JackeyLove or Knight or KaiSser, fling one of them. And we've seen throughout the course of these skirmishes and these fights, as soon as you get one of these damage dealers from top esports down, Fnatic can literally run away with the fights.
And just starting to try and place those teleport flank wards. Again, making sure you can find out those angles to attack top from. They're going to fight for the mid wave first, and Bwipo, he doesn't even need to teleport if he just hides in the brush here. You escort the mid wave all the way up. That'll give you full control of that bot jungle. Ooh, big ult.
Big damage. True Shot Barrage absolutely wrecking Selfmade and Reckless, but the Piercing Darkness as well as Senna's Kit will help a lot. There is a ward just below Selfmade.
These wards are clutch.
Top esports very aware of the situation. If you look at the minimap, Nemesis just shoved in the bottom lane. 10 seconds to the next dragon, and Fnatic very, very focused on it.
Yeah, Death Stance has been finished off by JackeyLove, but again, the wave is hit first by Fnatic, and with, you know, their own minion wave there, Zoe can't really play off of that. So Knight's gonna go in the top lane and farm, and I think this is the correct decision from top. Do not fight this. Yes, it is soul point for top, but at the end of the day, I don't think a Cloud Soul is going to change the dynamic of this game. So it's worse to throw everything away over a fight on that objective. Instead, they will simply farm up and try to get Knight to the Rabadons. That's the next break point that they can look to play off of.
Okay, a little while away for that. Needlessly, Large Rod was just picked up for Knight a little while ago. Can't quite see how much money is in his inventory, but 30 minutes on the clock. Baron is now alive. Second Dragon was just picked up by Fnatic. And they've put themselves in a very, very good position, setting up for one of these next objectives. We've seen them consistently win team fights, and I think consistently use vision well to then decide when to play for those kills. I was critical the first time they threw everything for the kills, but it worked, and it set them up for the advantage they need.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fnatic have played these fights very well and been instantly willing to pull the trigger. Let's not forget, though, the last team fight, it was JackeyLove Arcane shifting forward. So that was sort of handed to Fnatic on a silver platter. And now the question is, when there's a Rabadon's finished off for Knight, when JackeyLove does not throw it all away from the start, will it still look the same? They have the advantage. It should be a win for Fnatic. But top esports are terrifying in the 5 versus 5.
It all comes down to execution. It all comes down to, can you position correctly? Can you land the skill shots you need to? And thus far, Fnatic have proven they can. That Sleepy Trouble Bubble came very, very close to Selfmade. Baron Vision is being set up. It's still 3 minutes to the next dragon. And without really waves putting pressure on top esports, you can feel the pace of the game slowing down, the tension building up. One big team fight loss could cost the game here.
And remember, Fnatic don't have an easy way of just, whoa, big damage from KaiSser going on to Selfmade, pops the ultimate as well, and Knight looks for the poke. Selfmade will be taken out very low.
He will indeed. The Ignite was chucked out as well, and the Lamb's Rest, but he's still available, plus the Flash, so Selfmade's got some safety.
I love it. If you've watched the LEC, Hylissang does this all the time, hiding in Fog of War. Around the enemy team, he's looking for the massive flank against JackeyLove. Selfmade's not with the team, but he's still going.
369's gone in, he's managed to find JackeyLove! JackeyLove is deleted before anything can happen. Top esports, watch their bot laner get eliminated. Fnatic in a 5-on-4 for 40 seconds. They're barreling down mid lane.
Yeah, they may just be able to turn this around into the Baron. They don't really have the minions with them, but one minion is still alive, so the damage reduction will come through on the tower. Fnatic slowing things down again, but now that they have vision inside the enemy jungle, it opens up for more repeat plays just like that.
Thank Mr. Hylissang, finding the flank. 369 initiating and being punished for it. 20 seconds before JackeyLove is up. He has teleport available. He has True Shot, Barrage to throw out, and Bwipo is currently running interference. There's no Insanity Potion available for him, and top esports going to contest the Baron.
KaiSser's going around the wall looking for potential steal. Look at the poke come out from Knight.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble as well as the Paddle Star onto Nemesis. Solar Flare will slow everybody down, but that's so much damage onto 369. Lamb's Respite will buy enough time for Fnatic to continue the fight as Nemesis splits everyone up, gets the taunt down into KaiSser, and 369 is down. The Paddle Star comes out, won't bring
engage.
That's the engage. JackeyLove teleported back in, has been rooted in place, locked down. The damage is following up, but he cannot stay alive. JackeyLove is back in the fountain, and top esports are getting destroyed in the river.
Selfmade is still on the hunt for you, Yanja. He sees the support. He will kill the support inside the Fnatic jungle. Fnatic, they canceled the resets, and they're pushing down mid lane. The teleport now to come through from Bwipo. Do they want to end the game right here?
That's what they're going to try. 25 seconds for KaiSser and 369. 30 for JackeyLove and Yanja. Teleport coming in here from Nemesis into the mid lane. And Selfmade will be the last member to join the party. Knight, the last man standing, still 4-0-0 has been for the last 17 minutes, unable to make an impact. Fnatic with gigantic death timers in front of them. They've taken down the first Nexus turret. Bwipo is going to zone away Knight. The second Nexus turret. And Fnatic will turn their attention to the Nexus. Fnatic strike first against Top Esports.
And the man on your screen to take down his Demon and Jackie Love in game number 1. It started in the bot lane 2v2, where I don't think anyone was looking for this to happen. It happened. And Rekkles found that first kill and took over the game from there.
Exceptional performance from Hylissang and Rekkles especially, but all credit to the entirety of Fnatic. The singed pick in the last phase. Before we started today, we said red side is doomed. We really were nervous and anxious. The Singe pick comes out, and Fnatic pulled it off fantastic.
I mean, the Singe going into the backlines, because again, it was all about the disruption of the Galio ult on top. You saw even in that last Baron fight, you know, Knight's in the backline. It's like, okay, Singed at me, I'm going to sleep him. Now he pressed Zhonya's. Now the Galio ult comes through. It was so frustrating a game for Knight to play, because in the team fights, he could not play the game with everyone running at him.
Absolutely exceptional game from Fnatic, but can they do it again? That's the question. Head to the hub on Spotify for all the League of Legends action. It's all